Hello Mouses! So it's good news, the gay marriage bill has passed through the House of Commons on its third reading, with only 161 MPs voting against it, which is different to the 175 MPs that voted against it at the second hearing, which means all of the campaigning, all of the debate, all of the explanation of how this isn't going to affect anyone who doesn't want a gay marriage has actually had some effect. 14 people have changed their minds. This is great news. I think the main thing we have to look at is the fact that it has passed. It's now gone to the House of Lords. It can still be wrecked. It could still be voted out. Have a glass of wine, have a glass of champagne if you wanted to celebrate the fact that it's got through the House of Commons, but don't think this is the end of it. It's still got today in the House of Lords, and then next month in the House of Lords, and then we'll see what happens from there. Hopefully the House of Lords won't wreck it. They won't change things so it's really bad, and they'll just pass it. But there is a possibility that they will do that. So we've got to wait and see. The celebrations will come in June when and if the House of Lords actually passes it. So what I want to talk about today, I think the main thing is the fact that this is a monumental change in the way British society is. It's been coming for a long time, but it hasn't ever got to this point. We've had requests for equality before, and it's just been denied outright by governments. The Equality Bill in 2010 looked like a real step backward rather than a step forward, when it removed certain protections that minority groups had in the name of equality. It was a weird bill. So I honestly thought I wouldn't see this for years, and then all of a sudden here it is. This is great, and I think that we've still got a long way to come, especially with regard to the transgender equality, because Minister Helen Grant had decided that the government couldn't support certain amendments, such as removing the veto on getting a gender recognition certificate. If you're in a marriage and you decide that you've got to transition, it's that time, you've got to the point where you can't hold it off anymore, you have to transition, and then your partner decides, oh, I don't like this, I'm not going to let you see your kids, you have to leave the house, you can't have anything to do with your family anymore, you're being kicked out. How are these people going to get permission from their spouse to get the gender recognition certificate that they deserve? And it is their right to have it. They can't. But Minister Helen Grant has said, oh, there's no evidence that this will happen, so we're not going to support an amendment that removes the veto. So because there's no evidence that this will happen, we're going to not prevent it from happening. I don't see the logic. I really don't. I've been for this amendment since I saw what was going on. I've been against the idea of a veto from day one. I put together something in a policy document for LGBT Tory that said, look, we have to get rid of this. This is not right. And it's still there. Everything we've tried has gone on deaf ears because people just don't understand the problem of giving a potentially vindictive person. Remember that a lot of trans people end up in abusive relationships. Some reports have said it's as high as 85%. And a lot of the time, if a marriage breaks down, there's going to be problems. You see this with divorces all the time. The mother decides that the father can't see the kids for whatever reason. And I'm not saying it's vindictive. Maybe they have a real reason for thinking that it's a bad idea for the father to see the kids, but sometimes it's vindictive. And in those situations where a trans person leaves a family because they've been kicked out by their spouse, it's often very, very acrimonious. They're denied being able to see their children. So of course they're going to have problems if they need to get their former spouse to give them permission to get a piece of paper that recognises their new gender, because the spouse oftentimes in those situations thinks they've been lied to, they've been betrayed, and they're not going to want anything to do with their former spouse. So of course they're not going to give this. So giving them the opportunity to deny someone their rights is just ignorant. And I really, really believe that it is ignorance at the fundamental level, as in a lack of understanding of the situation that has caused this. So I was unhappy when that got dismissed. So it's work that still needs to be done. We need to get rid of that as soon as possible. So that's basically the next point of call for the campaigns. But at least we've got the main bulk, which is equal marriage. We're going to get forward with that. We've got some way to go still, so the campaign is still on, but as a stepping stone, it's a pretty big one. So that's great news so far. So thank you very much for watching. If you did like this, remember to click the like button, share it with your friends so that they can see what the situation is with the same-sex marriage bill. And do subscribe for future videos, because we'll be back in the future with more. But until next time, I've been Kirk-Robinson, you've been watching the Knob Mouse channel, and I'll see you tomorrow.